Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we make trendy and fun crochet tutorials twice a week. If you haven't already, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to join in on the fun. Here's my crack at a cutout tank. It's something I wanted to try for a while. Took some work, but I'm happy with the results and I've got ideas. Click the bell to stay tuned so you don't miss out. And without further ado, for this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used a quarter skein of baby Burnett Sport in baby blue. As for tools, a 4mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for discount off any $9.99 plus order. Watch to the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 4 stitches for this project, and they will be as follows. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we are first going to grab our category 3 yarn and start off by making a slip knot. Next, we're going to grab our 4mm hook and start off by making a chain that goes from our underarm down to where we want the bottom of the top to be, keeping in mind that we will have about an inch border for our underarm portion as well. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 40, or that comes out to 8.5 inches or 21 centimeters. And mine will be a little bit more cropped, so go ahead and add some length to this chain if you guys want this longer. Now that we have our chain, what we're going to do from here is block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, and then into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a slip stitch. So let's do the next one together. We're going to insert our hook into that next chain, yarn over, and pull through everything. We're going to keep doing this, going all the way down our chain. So we've just made our way down with our first row, and what we're going to do from here is now our increase. And how we're going to do that is start off by doing a chain up of 2. We're going to flip our work, and then into that second chain that we have from our hook, we're going to insert our hook into there, and that is our increase, making sure we're going in through that back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything on our hook. That is our first slip stitch. Then from here, go ahead and keep going all the way down with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch that we have. Once we make our way down to the end, that end is going to remain blunt, so do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then bring it on back down. And then once we hit this corner again, we're going to do another chain out of 2, do a back loop slip stitch into that second chain that we have, and then work our way back down. We're just going to keep going back and forth like that until this portion reaches the front of our body, and then from there we're just going to work straight across for our body portion. So when we meet back, we're going to want to make sure we're ending on the increase side, and also making sure to stretch it as if we were wearing it along the way. I'll give you guys my details in the next clip. So I have just finished up going in with my underarm portion, and I ended up having a total of 31 rows, or that comes out to 3.5 inches or 6 centimeters, and that is unstretched. And now once when we get here, we should have all ended at the top, and we're ready to go across with the body portion. So this next part's going to be super easy. We're just going to go in with back loop slip stitches, 1 into every stitch, just going back and forth, no increases or decreases until this fits across our chest. And then I'll meet you guys back at the top of our work so that we can go in with our decreases together. Alright, so we are back, and we have just finished up going in with the body portion, and I ended up having a total of 65 rows, or that came out to 7 inches or 18 centimeters in total, and that is unstretched. And once when we have this, we should have all ended at the top, and we are going to all go in with our decreases, just like how we started off with our increases over here. So once when we are up here, what we're going to do is do a chain up of 1 and flip our work. And how we're going to start this off is by doing our decrease of 2 back loop slip stitches. So we're going to insert our hook into this first back loop, yarn over, pull through, into this next back loop, and then from here we're going to yarn over and pull through everything on our hook, just like that. And then go ahead and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch that we have. And then once we're working our way back up, we are not going to be doing any decreases because on this side we only did an increase into every other row, so we're going to mimic the same thing on this side. So when we're working our way up towards the top, we're going to be putting 1 slip stitch into every stitch, and then once when we do our chain out of 1, flip our work, and then when we're working our way down towards the bottom, we're going to do a decrease of 2 into those first 2 stitches, and then continue on with that pattern until we have the same amount of rows as we have over here for this underarm portion. And then also, just to double check, we end up with the same amount of stitches as we did for our foundation chain over here. And then once when we have that, I will meet you guys back. Alright, we are back and we have just finished up going in with the underarm portion where we did our decreases, and I now have a total of 95 rows, and this is a total of 10.5 inches or 27 centimeters unstretched, and we are actually all finished going in with this panel. The last thing that we're going to have to do is just clean up this top portion right here so that it's easier for us to attach our straps. So what we're going to do once we get here is do a chain up of 1 and flip our work. And from here, going along the tops, we're going to be going into a bunch of side slip stitch rows. So we're going to be going into every other row. So we're going to have to pick one. If we're going to be going into the raised row or the divots, I'm going to be going into the raised rows. So once when we have done our chain up of 1, I'm going to find my first row, insert my hook into that top loop that we have. And it's not going to be any pretty loops for us to go into, so we're just going to have to find one. And then once we reach our corners where our underarm reaches where our body portion is, we are going to do a chain up of 1 and then continue going on with the same pattern. But that chain up of 1 is just to help us with our corners. So go ahead and keep going until we reach that point, and then I'll meet you guys back just to show you guys what I'm talking about. And now that we have single crocheted up all the way over to our corner, what we're going to do from here is just do a chain up of 1. We're going to grab our stitch marker and then insert it into that chain just so we can tell where it's at. And then from here, continue on with the same pattern of going into every other side slip stitch row. Once we hit that next corner, we're going to do the same thing, do a chain up of 1, insert our stitch marker into there, and then continue going all the way down. And then once we have this entire piece finished up, we're actually going to be doing one more that is exactly the same. So go ahead and get all of that finished up, and then I'll meet you guys back. Alrighty, so we are back and we have just finished up going in with both of our identical panels. And what we're going to do from here is seam it all up. So what we're going to do is insert our hook into the bottom corner stitch that we have into the front panel, the bottom corner stitch that we have into the back panel. And from here, go ahead and insert your yarn onto your hook and pull through. And do a chain up of 1 to secure. And then from here, we're going to be inserting our hook into the first available stitch we have into the front panel, and also into the first available stitch we have into that back panel. And then we're going to single crochet. Let's do the next one together just one more time. We're going to insert our hook into the next available stitch into the front panel, into the next available stitch into the back panel, and then we're going to single crochet. We're going to keep doing that, going all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left. We're going to do a chain up of 1 and cut and do the same thing that we just did here on the other side. So now that we've finished up seaming up both of our sides, now we can get started on our underarm detail that we're going to have. So the first thing we're going to do is insert our hook into the last stitch that we have into our side seam, and that's just to make sure that everything is even on both sides. Once when we have that, we are going to be inserting our yarn onto our hook, and everyone is going to start off by making a chain of 6 if we want our underarm portion to be about 1 inch. If you guys want yours bigger, then go ahead, but I think that 6 works out. So what we're going to do is start off by making that chain. And then we're just going to be working into one direction. So once we have this, we're going to block off that last chain and do a chain up of 1. Into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a single crochet, and then we're going to work our way down towards the base, eventually making our stitches bigger. So now that we have 1 single crochet into that first chain, the next chain is going to be another single crochet. The chain after that is going to be 2 half doubles into the next 2 chains. So there's 1, there is 2, and then into those last 2 chains that we have, we're going to be going in with 1 double crochet into each, so a total of 2. So there's 1 double crochet, and then there is 2 double crochets. Once we have that, we will be slip stitching it into the base. So how we're going to do that is count up the next 1, 2 stitches, and then slip stitch it into that stitch. And now our first row for our underarm portion is nice and attached, and we're just going to be doing 3 of these types of rows where the outside is skinny and then the base is fatter, just so that our underarm portion doesn't stick straight out when we wear it. We want it all to fit along the side of our body. So let's just do the next 2 rows together. We're going to be slip stitching up the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, there's 2, and we will flip our work. So from here, we're going to do the same thing, but in reverse. So since we're starting at the base, we're going to start off with a double crochet. So go ahead and insert your hook into that back loop with 1 double crochet. and then 2 double crochets, and then we're going to go in with 2 half double crochets. So there is 1 half double, there's 2, and then we're going to close off this row since we're along the outside with 2 back loop single crochets. So there is 1, and then there's 2. When we have that, we have just 1 more of these rows to do, so do a chain up of just 1, flip our work, and then we're going to go in with 2 back loop single crochets. So there's 1, there's 2, into the next 2 back loop half doubles, so there's 1, 2, and then into the last 2 we're going to go in with 2 back loop doubles. So there is 1, and then there is 2. We're going to connect it into the base the same way that we have been going into. So we're going to count up 1, 2, slip stitch into that second stitch that we have into the base. So this is what we should have once when we have finished up going in with our 3 rows. And once when we have this, we're just going to work our way up with back loop half double crochets, connecting into the base the same way that we have been, and then we're also going to build off of this for a little bit. So let's just get the first row started off with each other where we're just doing back loop half double crochets. Once when we get here, what we're going to do is slip stitch up 1, slip stitch up 2 stitches, and flip our work, and then from here all we're going to do is just go in putting 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. Once we make our way down to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then bring it back down with more back loop half double crochets, and then we're going to slip stitch it into the base the same way that we've been doing this whole time. Then we're going to keep doing that until we make our way all the way up to our stitch marker, and then I'll meet you guys back. Alright, so we have just made our way all the way down to our stitch marker, and what we're going to do from here is just work our way up with back loop half double crochets, not connecting it into anything. So all this is going to be, it doesn't matter if you guys end it in the front or in the back, we're just going to do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then go in with back loop half double crochets. Once we get to the end of the row, do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then do more back loop half double crochets until we get to just about where we want the base of our neck detail to be. And I'm going to keep going until I end up having a total of 14 rows, or for this little chunk that's not attached to anything, I'm going to keep going until I have a total of 2.5 inches or 7 centimeters. And then I'm going to do a chain up of 1 and cut after that. And then I'll meet you guys back so I can show you guys where we're going to insert our hook for the next side. So getting started on this other side, the only difference that we're going to have is that we aren't going to go in with a foundation chain. We can just go into the chain that we originally made so that we can eliminate any extra weaving in our ends and cutting and tying after that. So all we're going to do is insert our hook into the outside stitch that we have into the foundation chain that we have on the other side. We're going to insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and then start off by doing everything pretty much exactly the same. We're going to start off by doing a chain up of 1. That's actually going to count as our single crochet for this first row. And then for the next stitch, we're going to go in with our second single crochet, and then go in with 2 half double, 2 double. And then from there attach it into the base the same way that we've been doing this entire time. And then the only tip that I have for you guys is when we're working our way into the next row, don't forget that our chain up of 1 space counts as our first single crochet. But other than that, everything else will be exactly the same, including this extension right here. So go ahead and get all of that done, and then I'll meet you guys back. Alright, so now that we have just gone in with all of our straps portion, what we're going to do next is just go in with a chain along the entirety of the neck portion that we're going to have. So we're going to have to do some measuring. We are going to want to try this on, and we are first going to measure from the inside of our straps, and this is going to be completely up to you guys depending on the angle that you guys want your straps to be at. I want mine to kind of flow the way that it's supposed to flow naturally. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 3 inches or 8 centimeters, or that comes out to 12 chains, and make sure that our chains are an even number. And then from there we're going to measure from this portion all the way up and over our shoulder to this back corner stitch that we have right here. And then that is going to be what we have along the outside of our shoulder as well. So the first place that we're going to be inserting our hook is going to be along the outside of our strap, but we're going to be working along the inside of the body portion, and that is going to come into play in the next clip. But what we're going to do from here, now that our hook is into this outside corner loop, we're going to go in with single crochets just going along the top of our strap right here. So I'm going to insert my yarn onto my hook, pull through, and do a chain up of 1 to secure, and then we're just going to go across with a row of single crochet. So since we originally made a chain up of 6, we should have 6 single crochets. Now that we have single crocheted across, next we're going to make our chain that's going to connect from this corner to this inner corner. And like I said in the previous clip, mine's going to be a total of 12 chains, so I'm going to go ahead and make that. Once we have our chain, we are going to grab this other strap. We're going to slip stitch it into this first stitch that we have right here. So go ahead and insert. We're going to yarn over and pull through everything. And then we're going to be putting one single crochet into every stitch that we have until we hit this outside stitch, and then we're going to be making a chain that goes up and over our shoulder. Now that we have made a chain from the inside of our strap over to the other inside portion of our strap and then single crocheted along the top, we're next going to make another chain that goes up and over our shoulder and then connects to the outside of our back strap. And the measurement that I need is a total of 7 inches or 18 centimeters, or that's going to be 24 chains, keeping in mind that this does need to end on an even number as well. Single crochet across, and then I'm just going to repeat the same measurements that I have going across, and then up and over our shoulder, and then I'm going to slip stitch into this corner stitch. And then I'll meet you guys back once we have all of that done. Alright, so we have just made our way all the way around with our collar portion, and now we're going to go in with the detail. So what we're going to do from here is start off by making a chain that is the size that we want our neck detail to be, and mine is actually going to be another inch, so it's going to be mimicking this side detail that we have right here. So I'm going to start off by making a chain up of 6. And making sure that we're working in towards where our strap is, we're going to be doing the same thing that we started off this row with. We just want this to have a nice curve, so the outside is going to be smaller and then the base is going to be just a little bit thicker. So just to start this off, we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1. Into that first stitch, we're going to go in with a single crochet. And then into that next chain, we're going to go in with a single crochet into there as well. And then to build this up, we're going to go in with 2 half doubles. There's 1, there's 2, and then our next 2 stitches is going to be 2 doubles. There is 1, and then there's 2. Once we have that, we will be inserting our hook into the strap, going into the second stitch from our hook. So we're going to count up 1, count up 2, then slip stitch into that second stitch. And now our first row is nice and connected. And just like how we did the bottom, we're going to be going in with 3 rows of this portion that's smaller on the top and wider at the base. So just to start this off, do a slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, flip our work, prepare for a double crochet, go into the first 2 stitches, putting 1 double crochet into each back loop. So there's 1, there's 2, the next 2 stitches is 2 back loop half doubles, so there's 1, there's 2, and then the last 2 stitches is 2 back loop single crochets. So there's 1, there's 2. We're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and we have just 1 more of these to do since we have just these 2 more stitches left into the strap. So into that first 1 back loop single, into the next, our second back loop single, into the next 2 back loop half doubles, and then into the last 2, 1 back loop double into each. So there's 1, and there's 2. This is going to help us get our curve, but once we get here, we're going to slip stitch it into that second stitch that we have into the base. So there's 1, there's 2, slip stitch it into there, and then from here, working our way all the way across, we're going to be putting a row of back loop half double crochets while connecting it into the base the same way that we've just been doing. So pretty much the same thing that we did for our underarm portion right over here. And then I'll actually meet you guys back once we get to this next strap, just so that we can start this one off together again, and then we can do the rest from there. Alright, so we have just made our way all the way down with our back loop half double crochets, and we have reached this next strap portion, and I'm just going to do this one with you guys because it's going to start off a little bit differently but still end up ultimately having the same look as this one over here. So when we usually do this one, we start off with the top portion, which is singles all the way down to doubles, but for me over here we're going to start off by doing the doubles and then work our way up to the singles, so pretty easy. What we're going to do is insert our hook into the next 2 stitches with a slip stitch into each. That works our way up to the next row. We're going to flip our work. And from here, just like before, we're going to go in with 2 back loop doubles. So there is 1, there is 2. We're going to go in with 2 half doubles, making sure we're going into the back loops for all of this. There's 1, there's 2, and then close this off with 2 back loop singles. So there's 1, and there's 2. And we're going to have another set of 3 rows right here, or however many rows you guys had for the first one. But I'm just going to do this one with you guys. So we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then from here we're going to go in with our 2 back loop singles. So there's 1, there's 2, our 2 back loop half doubles. There's 1, there's 2, and then our back loop doubles, so go into that back loop with 1 double, then into the last stitch into this row with our last back loop double. And we have just 1 more of these rows left to go into, so what we're going to do is slip stitch into the second stitch into the base, and then slip stitch into the next 2 into the base, so there's 1, and then there's 2. We're going to flip our work, prepare for a double crochet, go into that first back loop with 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochet. Into the next 2 back loops, there is 2 back loop half doubles, so there's 1, there's 2, and then that's not yarn over. Into those last 2 stitches, we're going to go in with 1 single crochet and then our second single crochet. And now this next portion is all finished up. And from here we have our shoulder chain to go into, so it's going to be exactly the same way that we did this one over here. Just go in with back loop half doubles going all the way across, and then repeat what we just did over here for the other straps that we have along the back as well. And then I'll meet you guys back so that we can seam it all up together. Alright, so we are back and we have just made our way all the way around for our neck detail, and the next thing we have to do is just seam it up together. So just like how we've seamed up everything else so far, what we're going to do is insert our hook into the first available stitch we have into the back panel, since our hook is already into the front panel. From here we're going to yarn over and pull through everything. And then we're going to insert our hook into the first available stitch we have into the front panel, and then into the next available stitch we have into that back panel, and then single crochet. We're going to keep doing this going all the way down, and then go ahead and do a chain up of 1 and cut once we don't have any more stitches left to go into. And now that we have seamed up our neck portion, the next thing we're going to do is just clean up each of our edges. So we're going to clean up this underarm portion and then also this little cutout that we have right here as well. So we're going to start off by going into the outside portion. We're going to make a slip knot with our yarn, and then we're going to insert our hook into any stitch, but what I like to do is actually just insert my hook into right where this bottom seam is. And then this part's going to be pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to go into a bunch of side half double crochets. We're just going to alternate between 1 to 2 single crochets into each of these side half double crochets, but since we have inserted our hook into this bottom portion, we're first going to have to go into these 3 single crochet edges that we first went in with along the bottom. So let's just do that together. We're going to insert our hook, pull our yarn through, do a chain up of 1 to secure, and then we should have 3 single crochet rows. So we're going to go in with 1 single crochet into each of those. So there is 1, there is 2, there is 3, and then from there we're going to alternate between 1 to 2 single crochets. So into our regular side half double crochet rows, we're going to go into that first one with 1, we're going to go into that next one with 2. So there's 1, there's 2. Let's do the next set together as well. Into this next side half double crochet row, we're going to go into there with 1 single crochet, and then into the next go in with 2 single crochet. And we're going to keep doing that going all the way around, including into this portion right here. We're just going to work our way all the way around, nothing fancy into the corners. We're going to keep doing that going all the way around until we slip stitch into that chain up of 1 space that we first started this row off with, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can clean up our cutout together as well. And now that we have the underarm portions all finished up, the next thing we're going to do is just clean up this inner portion, but we actually don't need to go in along the bottom since we already have a single crochet row there. It'll make it look just a little bit bulky. So what we're going to do is just insert our hook into the first single crochet that we have into a corner. So we're going to insert our hook into here, and then we're going to go in with our single crochet row along the sides, top, down, and then we're going to slip stitch it into the first single crochet that we have along this side as well. So this is going to be pretty self-explanatory, pretty much the same way that we did this part. Just alternate between 1 to 2 single crochets for each of our side half double crochets, and then do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then do the same thing that we did here on the other side. And now that we have finished up single crocheting around the entirety of our cutout, well, almost the entirety, we are actually all done. The last thing that we're going to have to do is just weave in all of our ends. And now our cute little tank is all finished up. I've always loved the idea of cutouts, but could never find a cutout that suited my style until now. I guess that's the beauty of making your own clothes. But anyways, there is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCD DIY for discount off any $9.99 plus order. Enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us what you guys did today. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up because believe it or not, it really helps. And be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. Links down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. And be sure to favorite the shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and exclusive deals. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.